is anxiety going to be my life? I understand how they feel because I tell you what, maybe you've not heard my story before. I had a very, very serious story with regards to when I was younger, my childhood. I grew up in a place in a part of Nigeria, in your state or your town, and my parents were poor. My dad was not always there. My mom had to raise 6 children on her own, and she was a primary school teacher. But it sounded good, but it's not like the school teachers you probably know in the developed countries, because some of these teachers don't get paid. They don't get paid for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. And I could remember the horrifying experiences I went through as a little child when we will not have any money to eat, we will be very hungry. Then myself and my brother would just go out somewhere, anywhere, wherever we could find any food. We'll go to the rivers to try to catch some fish. And some of these rivers very close to us were basically, basically infected by poisonous snakes. Many times, I would have been, I could have been beaten and and died in the jungle. But somehow I escaped all those fatal experiences. But one thing I did not escape was the anxiety that eventually came to me. Just as a 12, 13-year-old boy, imagine going through all these horrifying experiences. And I developed anxiety. And that's how I have the experience of how anxiety could feel. And it continued like that eventually when I lost my mom 9 years later. It didn't stop there. I had to go through another series of horrifying, very excruciating, painful, emotional experiences. So I don't know what you are going through. Usually, anxiety is connected to some kind of of challenges, some kind of problems that we face. Sometimes you don't see them, you cannot remember them, you cannot recognize that they're connected to something in your past. You don't recognize that your anxiety is connected to something in your past. But oftentimes that's the situation. So maybe your own issue, is different totally. But one thing is common is anxiety, the way it makes you feel. It destroys your confidence. It makes you feel it just paralyzes your hopes. It's incredible what anxiety does to people. It just made them very somehow useless. They could not focus on their jobs. They could not do what they knew they were capable of doing. And just like life just becomes very boring, very hard to go by day to day. I understand that the feeling, the sensations of that constant fatigue and palpitation and panic attacks and depressive episodes. So it's huge. And I know that um, if you are listening to me today, it's because you have some things to do with anxiety, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you. I'm not just a psychotherapist, someone who has helped a lot of people over the years overcome the anxiety. I went through it myself, so I know what I'm talking about. And if you have listened to my previous video on money anxiety, by the way, I got a lot of comments, a lot of emails rather, from people asking me to speak about money anxiety. So if you've not listened to that one, just on top of this video, you will see some of those little videos I've posted before. You'll be able to click on them and listen to them. In my last video, I shared just one top one cause rather of money anxiety. I've identified top 10 causes. There are other causes, but the top 10 causes identified based on people's feedback and my one-on-one consultation with anxiety sufferers, those who are actually experiencing morning anxiety. So if you probably listen to me, perhaps you're looking for some tips to help you get through this horrible morning experience. And the number 10, I'm going to work my way down from 10 to 1. 1 being what I consider to be the most powerful generator of morning anxiety. And not only morning anxiety, the most powerful generator of anxiety disorders. And I'm going to share that with you. So, number 10 that I shared last time was not getting enough sleep. I've experienced this, and a lot of people, based on my consultation with people, I've experienced that as well. When you don't get enough sleep, eventually your mind becomes saturated and tired. And because of that, your mind eventually allows the nervous system to trigger the stress response, which eventually increases your anxiety. So you wake up with a lot of anxiety chemicals, anxiety generating chemicals in your body. So that's one of the reasons. So I really want to go through the next 9 causes. So very quickly. So the number 9 is this is crazy. You might not believe this. Is the unpleasant sound of your alarm clock. Your alarm clock. A lot of people have raised this issue. Your alarm clock is very important, especially if you have been in a job, a very stressful job, a job that you didn't want to wake up to go to, and you used to use the same alarm clock or something similar. So at some point, your alarm clock has been programmed into your subconscious mind. So, and that has been identified and connected to stress and anxiety. For example, if you don't want to go to your work because your boss is not a good one, or you have this work colleague that just makes your life difficult, each time that alarm in the morning wakes you up, your mind, your subconscious mind, triggers the memory of the painful experiences that you will go and get when you get to work. So that automatically triggers your anxiety, your body natural anxiety response, stress response. So which just gets you into that cycle of anxiety. You feel you begin to develop different kind of symptoms of anxiety. So that's important. So check your alarm. If your alarm is such that you hate alarm clocks, so there's some work we can do about that to help you go through that, so that your alarm clock becomes your energizer as opposed to be your downfaller, if there's a word like that, something that brings you down. So that's very important. Now, number 8 is not planning the next day the day before. Not planning the next day the day before. This sounds very little, but research has shown that if you have not organized your day, this can contribute to the way you wake up. So if you know that you have a lot of things in your mind to do, there are a lot of activities, chores piling up rather, and you've not had enough time to get around it. What they do is that each particular activity that you want to do, you intend to do, it could be like writing a letter or posting a letter, or it could be just filling up a certain form that's come through the letterbox. It could just be just enrolling, going to the school to enroll your child, or just it could just be that you've not caught up with your reviews and your assignments, you've not done your assignments, your homework, and things like that. It could just be about going to the bank and go and negotiate a better way of managing your credits. So little things like that, if they pile up, then what do? They eventually fill up what they call your anxiety attention unit in your mind. So when they fill this place up, it becomes disorganized. So And if it becomes disorganized for so long, what happens? Eventually, your body reacts because your mind is in trouble. Your mind senses those things as a threat, so they eventually trigger your stress response, which eventually leads you to waking up with anxiety disorders. So that is important. The best way is to make sure you know what you're doing the night before you sleep. Know what you're doing tomorrow, the night before, tonight. So just write something down. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be many. Just one or two things that you can get done. That alone just commands your mind to be at rest. So you are now in control of a certain amount, a percentage of the day, which is huge. So that is important. So the next one, number 7, is low blood sugar levels. Low blood sugar levels. So if your blood sugar level drops to a certain critical stage, naturally, automatically, your body goes into that red alert mode. Because when you, at night, when you sleep, your brain uses a lot of sugar to keep you sane and also to keep your repressed negative emotions at bay, to make sure that all those past painful experiences are still there, still repressed there. They're threatening to jump out into your conscious mind, but your brain is doing so much to make sure it keeps them at bay, it keeps them in control so that you can still maintain your composure. You can still function as a well functioning human being. So because of that, it uses a lot of sugar. And when it uses so much sugar and the blood level, the blood sugar level it drops to a certain amount of level, then it poses danger to your subconscious mind, to your nervous system, and also at the end of the day, you get into that mode of anxiety because your amygdala, there's a part of your brain called amygdala that is responsible for your stress response. So it senses the tones and the intensity of your emotions, and it recognizes some things that have been identified as dangerous to you. So once it senses that your sugar level is low, your blood sugar level is low, it triggers another part of your brain called hippocampus to start very quickly your stress response, your body's natural stress response, in a view to protect you. So what you are getting is just all these symptoms of anxiety, panic attacks, you're feeling so horrible. So that's very important. So what you can do is to make sure that you have some food to eat close to your table and stuff like that. We'll talk more about solutions later on. The next one, number 6, is high cortisol level. Cortisol is one of your stress hormones that are secreted in your body when you stress, when your body's stress response are triggered. So cortisol, the such just like adrenaline, and they are all stress hormones. They get you ready for actions. They give you enough energy. They give you so much energy in your bloodstream to be able to do something, to fly away from danger. So when you have all this, and each anxiety generates that. So when you have too much cortisol in your blood system, it eventually affects you because you're not actually flying away from anything. You're not using anything. There's not immediate danger posed to you apart from that which exists in your mind. And that is illusion. That's just an illusion. So there you are with all these loads. Loads of cortisol. They are not being used up. So what they do is that they eventually turn against you. They turn against you and become your tormentor. They become your stress. So, and also, by the way, at night, your cortisol level, if you live with anxiety, rises up. So your cortisol level at that time rises up in all the rumination or the bad thoughts you've had over the day, the the frustration, the disappointment, the anger you have towards the fact that you live with anxiety. So you will always have that huge amount of cortisol in your body every at any given time because you worry all the time. So when you wake up in the morning, your cortisol level are high because they've come together over the night and you've not actually used anything up. So you feel it, you feel very dizzy, you have a foggy mind, you can't even function. It's just like you do not want to face the day, you want to put all the curtains, just pull them, just close them. The thought of facing the day just intimidates you. So I know that's very painful. So just begin to think about that, and there are reasons, there are ways to get rid of this. By the way, so and I'm going to show you, I'm going to talk to you about that in my subsequent videos. And let's move on. The next one is vitamin B and C deficiencies. Yeah, vitamin B, B vitamins are very, very helpful for your nervous system, and they actually, especially vitamin C, increases your immune system and helps the adrenal glands to cope with stress more effectively. So, but if you have an ongoing anxiety issue, your body kind of depletes the already stored B and C vitamins very rapidly. So, leading you to that deficiencies of this vitamin C and vitamin B. And these eventually can lead to fatigue, heightened anxiety and irritability. So, of course, you're not a doctor, you don't know whether you're deficient of B or C vitamins. So, but what you need to do also, there are B vitamins supplements that you can take. You can consult your doctor about that, and that is pretty easy. I believe you cannot even overdose on some of these vitamins. So it's something you can just seek professional advice for. And a lot of people have told me it's helpful to them as well. It's not the main thing that cures your anxiety, but it just helps you to solve that problem. If your money anxiety is that part of the causes of your money anxiety. Okay, so number 4 is stress. Everybody goes through stress, especially in this climatic condition, this economic condition where everything is hard. It's like, money issue, you worry about money issue, you worry about relationship issue. By the way, your relationship amounts to up to 85% of your joy. Yes, it's very incredible. Your relationships, whether it's with your parents, with your work colleagues, your boss, your partner, your husband, your wife, your friends, your secular friends. So your relationship is very important to your joy, and it causes you a lot of stress if things don't work and not working well. So think about that. So the stress you get from your relationship not working well is huge, and a lot of us don't know this. And also, the work you get from work, if your work is not a good one, or if someone at work is making your life very difficult, these are stresses that basically are multiplied in your mind, in your body. The effects are more powerful than the just normal stress that some people go through. So think about it. So because stress is already in your body, and it's filled you with negative energy. So eventually you just slump into that depressive state, that anxiety stress state throughout the night, and throughout the night your body just recycles that and just multiplies it and magnifies it. So you wake up in that state of anxiety. Okay, so the next one is number 3, which is watching the evening news before bed. Watching the news before bed. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous as well. But again, this is from experience, from what people have told me. When you watch the news before bed, whatever you watch 45 minutes before you go to bed gets to be replayed by your subconscious mind many times over, thousands of times over, while your mind, your conscious mind, is asleep. By the way, your subconscious mind does not sleep. So it replays anything you put into your mind 45 minutes before you went to bed. You replace that, and it gets that in your subconscious mind. Now think about it. Most of the news that we watch, the news that we watch is filled with negative things. People getting killed, starvation, and different kinds of oppressive disorders, dead bodies, and being shown, and hatred, and wars, and natural disasters. So all these things, they have that negative consequence in your mind. So because of your own past situation or the problems you've gone through in your past, they kind of subconsciously trigger some of those past experiences and fears and concerns and doubts that you have as a person. So they now send you into this spiral, circle of anxiety. So you wake up very grumpy, you wake up very tired, as if you've been labored. And it's true, your mind has been laboring over the night. So that's important. Instead of watching bad news before you go to bed, or horrible movies on us, or program, try to put something good in your mind. Listen to relaxing music, or read a positive book, a motivational book, or an inspirational book, something positive that will get replayed and replayed over and over again throughout the night. It's a powerful way to program your mind for positivity, confidence, and self-esteem. Okay, so number two, cause of money anxiety. This is powerful. Is loneliness. Loneliness. Perhaps this is the most common cause of money anxiety. Feelings of loneliness is one of the deadliest psychological feelings, and also one of the hardest to shake off. Whether this is due to a separation, divorce, rejection, bullying, or the loss of a loved one, or the fear of waking up to a brand new day, you know, or it could just be like physical loneliness or mental loneliness, because all these things are different. The fact that real loneliness is a psychological issue. So real loneliness does not really mean that you don't have people around you to hug you, to hold you, to support you. Real loneliness is psychological. You could be in the midst of people and still be lonely on the inside. You could be surrounded by hundreds of people and still feel lonely. We've heard situations of people who seemed to have a lot of friends, and people were around them all the time, but something happened. They just became depressed. They turned inward. They were not talking to anybody, and they eventually did some silly things to themselves and injured or harmed themselves. So that's very crucial. Loneliness is something that you have to deal with. And in my program, my anxiety panic recovery mind body breakthrough program, it is part of the package. If you get my program, all these things are covered, and I show you one step at a time how to free yourself from any psychological disorder that you might have, and actually take control of your nervous system from sending you into anxiety, panic disorders, and other anxiety-related conditions and symptoms rather. So loneliness is huge. It's huge. It's really huge. By the way, we were not designed to be alone. So when you feel a sense of loneliness in your mind or around you physically, probably you've lost your partner, or you've lost your husband or your wife, or somebody just walked away and just dumped you, and the only sense that you could feel, that horrible sense of failure, of loneliness, it's a very powerful anxiety generator. So when you wake up into that disappointing day. You don't want to see it, because 24 hours is just too long to feel the horrible feeling of loneliness. So, but don't worry, my program has covered it. It's going to show you, it's going to give you the tools that you need to rise up again, to see life as opportunities, not as disasters, to see yourself, to increase your self-esteem and your energy, your positivity, your personal power increases, and you feel good and better about yourself. And that's good. That's good. So the number one, which I consider the most powerful, the most important cause of whether it's money anxiety or whether it's a panic attacks or other anxiety related to conditions such as OCD, agoraphobia. It could just borderline personality disorders or body dysmorphic, or what am I saying? You know, body dysmorphic. The one that is responsible for you not being able to see yourself in the mirror and to accept yourself as you are. I think it's dysmorphic, yeah, dysmorphic disorders. I'm sorry about that. Yes, so whatever it is, you can be in control if you understand this last one, which is the high level of repressed negative emotions. I am a believer that the cause of anxiety is rooted in the repressed negative emotions. The repressed negative emotions are those emotions that are generated when you went through issues in your life, serious issues in your life. It could just be from your childhood, it could be the abuse, it could be the physical abuse, it could be the sexual, it could be mental, it could be emotional, it could be a loss of a loved one, a loss of a pet. If a client of mine actually got into depression and anxiety because she lost a pet and she didn't deal with that properly. So anything that causes you sadness in the past, whether it's something you remember now or something that is just in your subconscious mind, is capable of generating negative emotion. And if those negative emotions are now, too much, they fill your what we call your subconscious reservoir, and they get to a critical stage. Then they become the home of your anxiety. They generate your anxieties. That's why probably you've been on medications, you've seen your GP, you've gone you've used different kind of anxiety recovery programs, and you're not really getting anywhere. So if that is you, your repressed negative emotions will be the reason. If you don't deal with it in a professional way, you cannot move on. You cannot move on. And that is exactly what my program deals with. The Breakthrough Program, Anxiety Panic Recovery Program. And by the way, I will be opening registration very soon, so check your email. This is going to be extremely useful to you. I'm opening registration for this year for people to register for the Anxiety Panic Recovery Program. That's going to cover all these things that I've said and a lot more. It's basically guaranteed to get you out of anxiety disorders. It's guaranteed, and I'm giving you my word. If it does not make you a different person with regards to anxiety, by the way, this has happened to a lot of people, then you get your money back, full refund. No strings attached, because I'm confident that this will change you. So I hope you've picked up one or two things from what I've said so far, and I look forward to sharing more and more tips with you. And also, please, by the way, look forward to other videos on anxiety panic disorders and on some specified areas. I'll be speaking to you too based on the email and questions I get from other people. And like I said, look forward to my registration email, and it's probably going to be one of the most singular decisions you will ever make concerning your anxiety disorders. The price is reasonable. There's so much over 70% discount. So when the registration is open, make sure you quickly get yours because there's limited space for it, and it's affordable, much more affordable than some things you just treat yourself with. But this is for life. When you get rid of anxiety, your life opens up. You can fulfill your potential. You can visit your children, you can visit other people, you can go out to express yourself. You can take on those things you cannot take on before. You imagine yourself just free, just live normally, like as us other people that normally live. There's no anxiety that will repress you. There's no that's discouragement, sense of discouragement and depression that just holds you in bondage forever. So you want to free yourself of that, and I'm here to help you. I'm absolutely my passion to do that for you, and I will speak to you again later. I know this video is a little bit probably longer, so if you probably have watched it at this level, you are ready for a new beginning, and I'm so glad to be part of that to you. Thank you, and watch out for my other videos, and also please below this video, please just hit that like button if anything I've said so far makes sense to you. Hit the like button is a way of you supporting what I'm doing for you. And also, if you've got any comments, just say something. Just be a word or 2 words. Or if you've got any question that you want me to talk about, post it there, and I'm going to pick them up eventually, and quickly make sure that I reply to that. So thank you very much. All the best regards, and I'm going to sign off here. Okay, bye bye.